Hi, my pre-Kers. In the month of January, we are learning about some of the coldest places on Earth. We've talked a lot about Antarctica, and in one of my videos, I read parts of this book, Life in the Polar Regions, and I read the parts of the book already on Antarctica, the coldest place on Earth. Well, now, since we're moving up north to the North Pole, to the Arctic, I wanted to read the other pages that talk about the Arctic. So let's open up our great big book. And we saw the first page before, but let's just go over that. It says that the polar regions are the coldest places on Earth. The temperature seldom climbs above freezing. The treeless lands and wind-swept seas are almost always covered with snow and ice. So did you listen? Do they have trees there? The treeless lands, almost always covered with snow and ice. All right, now let's find the pages on the Arctic. Moving to one of the biggest animals ever, the polar bears. What does it say about the polar bears? Polar bears live only in the Arctic. They travel many miles across the frozen seas to hunt. They often will wait patiently at the edge of the water, just waiting for their food. They grab the food with their powerful claws whenever they see it in the water. They can wait patiently for hours until they find their food. A coat of creamy white or yellow fur makes polar bears hard to see against the snow. The heavy fur and a thick layer of fat under the skin help to keep the bears warm and comfortable. They look pretty comfortable to me, don't they? Just relaxing there, all cozy and warm and full. Polar bears are about 10 feet long and weigh up to 1,000 pounds. So 10 feet, that's as tall as the room that I'm in. A polar bear probably couldn't even fit in this room. 10 feet tall is taller than our mommies and our daddies. And 1,000 pounds? That's ginormous. Even though they're this big, they still get around really well. On land, they can run 35 miles an hour. That's as fast as your car goes. They could run right alongside your car. And in the water, they use their front paws to paddle along about 6 miles an hour. That's pretty fast swimming. Despite their gigantic size, polar bears give birth to teeny tiny cubs. So even though the polar bears are 10 feet tall and 1,000 pounds, their babies are very small. They're baby cubs. Usually they will have twins. The cubs are about the size of a big mouse. That's not very big, is it? Just the size of a mouse when they're born. The cubs grow fast though, and 1-year-old cubs are the size of an adult. So at 1 year old, they started out to be the size of a mouse, and in 1 year, they grew to be the size of a grown-up. That's a lot. Think about maybe a baby brother or sister who's only 1 year old. They're not the size of an adult, but a 1-year-old polar bear cub is the size of an adult. They are big. Okay, let's see what else is in here for the Arctic. We will move along to some birds. Many kinds of flying birds dot the skies of the polar regions. This is a willow ptarmigan, kind of a different name. Ptarmigan, a ptarmigan. In the winter, its feathers are as white as snow, as white as snow. Why do you think? So they blend in with the snow like camouflage. And in the spring, it grows brown feathers to blend in with the rocks and the plants. So there is the same bird in the spring. You can hardly see him. He's blending in with the grass and the twigs and the trees and the earth and the dirt. Good camouflage. You can hardly see him up here in the wintertime. That's the way God made them, so that they can hide and stay safe. And then we have huge flocks of snow geese that arrive at the Arctic every spring to make it their home, and they lay their nest and lay their eggs there. So there's lots of birds up in the Arctic. Let's see what's growing here on the Arctic or in the Arctic. Few plants can grow in the lands of the polar regions. Most of the ice that blankets the Antarctic never melts. We learned about that. The ice is usually always there. But the flat, rocky lands that meet the Arctic Ocean come to life every summer. So in the Arctic, it does change in the summertime. Mosses and lichens and other small plants cover these swampy plains. And this is known as the tundra, the land, the tundra. So things are growing there. And you can even see in the summer months some wildflowers that bloom on the tundra. They grow close to the ground and not very tall, so they don't get blown by the wind. They stay close to the ground and in big groups all together. So the Arctic does have more color in the summertime. Oh, here's some more Arctic animals. Large land animals. These are mammals, and this one is called a reindeer. Reindeer and caribou graze on the tundra, the land. Many of them will head south for the winter, but those that stay paw through the snow to eat the lichen. So this is a reindeer. Look at his beautiful white coat in the winter so he can camouflage. A reindeer. And the Arctic tundra is home to a variety of other hardy animals. Some are plant eaters, some are hunters. They all have their own special ways of surviving in the Arctic. These are little lemmings. Lemmings are little rodents that survive by burrowing underground and nibbling on the roots. They probably have really strong teeth for eating those roots. And do you know what this guy is? This is our Arctic hare. Arctic hares have really good noses. They use their sense of smell to find and dig up plants when the snow covers the ground. And can you tell what time of year it is right here? Is it winter or is it summer? It's winter because his fur is white. You're right. And then this is one of my favorites. Arctic foxes use their sense of smell to find their food that they need to eat all winter long and all summer long. Like some other Arctic land animals, including lemmings and hares, these foxes grow a white coat of fur for the winter and a brownish or grayish coat for the summer. So their coat changes too. So what is it here? Is it summer or is it winter? It's winter. He's going to blend in with the snow. Let's see. Oh, and if we've been listening to our videos, we learned that there's not just animals in the Arctic that live there all year long. There are also people that live up in the Arctic. Remember in Antarctica, not very many people live there. It's mostly scientists that come and go. They don't really live there all year forever. But in the Arctic, they do. A number of people live in the land surrounding the Arctic Ocean. Traditionally, these people survived by fishing and herding reindeer. Today, life for many of these groups is a mixture of the old ways and the new ways. Sleds pulled by husky dogs are a traditional Inuit way to travel. So these people are called Inuits. Sometimes they're called Eskimos, and they would live and get from place to place with sleds pulled by husky dogs. Today, they can drive snowmobiles or rugged four-wheel drive trucks, or they might still go on their sleds. And then the Inuits live in Alaska, Canada, Greenland, Siberia. Most Inuit families live in villages made of modern houses like we live in today. But some of them might still live in ice houses or snow houses for part of the year. Many times when they go hunting or fishing, they will build themselves a house out of snow and ice. And they know exactly how to do it to stay warm. And it makes a really good place of shelter when they're out fishing and hunting in the wilderness. Oh, and look here. This is another type of people that live up in the Arctic. The Nanette people of Siberia have herded reindeers for hundreds of years, so they take care of the reindeers. As the reindeers move from place to place, the Nanettes follow them. They're always watching over their reindeer, and reindeer will even pull their sleds. So they really ride in sleds that are pulled by reindeer. And then here's a picture of some more people that live up there. The Sami people, they live in Scandinavia, and they also take care of reindeer. They're reindeer herders. Many of them today fish or farm, but some of them still take care of reindeer. They have beautiful, colorful clothing. I love the way they made their clothing there with all those colors. And our last page. It says humans did not live in the Antarctic region until recent times. That's what we were just saying. Today, scientists spend long periods of time doing research in the South Pole. In the summer, many tourists visit Antarctica. Perhaps one day you will travel to one of the polar regions. You could be a scientist going to Antarctica. You could be a tourist going to the Arctic. Look at this giant ice sheet that they're looking at. That's their boat, and that is the iceberg, how big that is. And then here it shows where the Arctic is at the top of the world, the North Pole, the top of the world, up north, and at the bottom of the world, Antarctica. Okay. So I'm going to be reading some more stories about some of these individual animals. Just keep watching on my videos, and there'll be lots more for you to discover. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.